In my view, a universal basic income is actually the next level in our democratic journey.
We need a mechanism to redistribute wealth from the rich of the world to everybody in the world. And the direct cash transfers to everybody, it has the potential to contribute to solving a huge amount of social problems. And then depending how you fund it, it has the potential to help solve climate change.
We have a responsibility to position basic income to make sure that humanity is given the humanity it deserves, that we care for the people for the care that they need, and that we position basic income as a human right, not an alternative.
It's not so much about money, it's about caring, all right? And the fact that a basic income really reinforces the idea that we're all here to look out for each other.
So it has 5 important characteristics. It is universal, it is individual, it is cash only, it's periodic, which is monthly. Most important, the real cutting edge of the basic income concept is it's unconditional.
It's really important that it goes to individuals, and particularly in the need for women to have their own money. The kind of position that women are in terms of domestic violence and being able to escape.
For Kenya, what we have done currently is launched a program that is initially going to be reaching 50,000 people with $30 per month. We are also doing this in Malawi, in Uganda. Hopefully, we are also going to be activating Guinea.
The city of Maricá, in the outskirts of Sao Paulo, has made for the last years what they call a basic income at the city level through a currency called Mumbuka. And it works. Of course it works. Why wouldn't it work?
I come from a pilot study where we lived in the village for 2 years and saw people what they do when they get money for 18 months. They did not make any radical shifts in their employment, radical shifts in their food. From an exploitative money lender, they moved to a soft source of borrowing money. From an exploitative employer, if they have a choice, they move to somebody who doesn't exploit them. They make those choices. Their agency comes to the fore.
People will talk about peace. People will talk about democracy. People will talk about the concern of leaders just because they feel somebody cares about them. That is what basic income is all about.
There are a lot of people who can't get through the next day, all right? And so extinction for them, as Carolyn was saying, is an immediate problem. A measure like basic income would free up a lot of people to care about the environment and each other, all right, rather than having to worry where their food is coming from or where their rent is coming from or being on the street.
We have inherited the industrial work ethic that if you don't work, you don't deserve to be paid. That you have to sell your labor in the market and only then you deserve. That is going to change completely in the 21st century because we are not going to have that many jobs, definitely. But I think we have the wealth.
Some people may say that, if you give them money, they will waste it. They will drink it away. And I stop to ask, how much is wasted by our government? How much is just lost? A lot of times, people who sit on decision-making tables have never been down there to feel the pangs of poverty. We are talking about people who live a day as it comes. We have the luxury of having salaries and we can plan our lives. You can plan to own a house. You can plan to eat good food in the next 2 weeks. We are talking about people who eat good food when it arrives. And when you give people a basic income, little as you may imagine that it is, people start planning their lives. People start becoming hopeful. That in itself is a game changer. When you increase people's hope, you increase their innovation. I think one other important thing about basic income is the space it opens for civic participation because it gives voice to the voiceless. That people start viewing the world as an equal world. Give that money to the people and you will hear them speak.
If we want a world where everybody has a basic ground to stand on, if that is our vision, you better change many things. Data. People are stealing data from us and giving us nothing. Okay? So the data is a new oil. So several things. Let's open all the account books.
If we reformed our tax systems, if we taxed some of the bad practices that are going on around the world at the moment, there'd be plenty of money to give a basic income to everybody in the world.
So an international carbon tax with the money put in basically a fund of money owned by the people of the world that could then be invested in positive things like renewable energy infrastructure. So you essentially have wind turbines owned by the people of the world, and then the revenues that comes from that goes into a pot and gets distributed.
Large companies like Apple and Google, they are sitting on the largest cash piles ever. It's more money than a lot of countries' GDPs. There has to be some way of dealing with that. Now, whether it's about actually requisitioning the money back, or whether it's just saying, right, if your money's in a tax haven, it's not worth anything, so we're going to create some more money that people can use. Or cities could create local currencies.
It's very important to say that today the biggest threat to the ecology are private banks. These institutions are basically accelerating the level of entropy in the planet.
I don't know when it will take government to sit down and just think about that. Little money that we give through basic income have innovative ways, have powerful ways of triggering economies to even generate that money that governments are wondering, where are we going to get the money? Let's help our people to be co-producers of economic growth in our country.
There are two important crises that as mankind, we are going through. One is the ecological crisis, which all of us know, and the reasons also we know. And there's also another crisis, the moral crisis, about what is the meaning of our existence. We are fetishizing consumerism. Better life is consume more. Have 2 cars instead of 1, have 2 flats instead of 1. That is not going to bring us a sustainable life. Everybody deserves unconditional love. It is that vision basic income carries. It gives a solid ground for everybody to stand on and then participate in the labor market.